Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American brews and tunes. Shibbity-beeby-dow!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Brews and Tunes, a show where we talk about two of the very best things in the entire world.
Brews and tunes.
And or beer and music.
Correct you are. My name is Steven Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Tidales.
Well, for those of you who have tuned into the previous week, you already know what we have been listening to for this past 1 week. I have been listening to the EP Fall by John Foreman.
As in the season, fall.
Yes, the season, Fall.
And I've been listening to the EP Pull Yourself Back Together by Real Friends.
Well, both great EPs. But since we listen to short EPs, we decided to have short beers, as in single cans, as opposed to the bombers that we typically have.
Yes. So we're having 12 ounces.
Correct. 12 ounces as opposed to 22 ounces.
Exactly. So,
what beer are you having this week, Jesse? What beer did you choose?
Well, I decided to go local this week.
Nice.
I chose, I was at Target today, a Grapefruit IPA by Tailgate Beer.
Tailgate. I think I've heard of them.
Yeah.
In fact, I have been to their tap room.
Yeah.
Their second tap room.
It's right by where you work.
It's right by where I work, and they must have at least 20 or 25 of their own taps at their second tap room where I work, and it's great.
Yeah, so I'm kind of excited about this one because I really like grapefruit.
And you really like IPAs.
True. So
I like both of those too, but I have not had that one, surprisingly.
Well, you can try it if you want.
Well, we'll see.
Even though I bought it, I'll share it with you.
I'm not sure if I'll try it, but I'll probably give it a little sip, just to see what I think.
Yeah, okay.
And here's what I have for the week. It's this really off-the-wall looking can, and it almost takes me a minute to find the name. But the brewery is called Stillwater, and the...
Oh, it's by Stillwater.
Yeah, Stillwater.
Artisan Ales?
Yes.
That one? Nice.
Stillwater Artisan Ales, and the beer itself is called On Fleek, which I'm not entirely sure what that means, but
I don't get it.
It's an imperial stout of sorts. I really don't know how to describe it, but it's this yellow can with all these pink and blue polka dots.
It looks like, no, they look like rocks.
It reminds me of Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
It looks like Fruity Pebbles all over this.
It kind of looks like the can was made in the 80s.
So, where Jesse's beer is a local one, like you said, from Nashville, this one is from Connecticut. Stratford, Connecticut.
Huh.
So,
awesome.
We'll see. Your beer is going to be probably light and little fruity. Mine's going to be dark and heavy. It's also a 13% beer, so it's up there on the ABV level. I'm a little nervous, but we'll go ahead with it.
Yep.
You ready?
Yep.
Before we crack our cans, what do we say?
Shibbity-bip-pow!
Nice. Jesse said he's just going to drink his straight out the can, where me, since I'm a classy gentleman, I'm going to pour mine into a glass.
This really smells like grapefruit.
Mine looks as black as the night.
Oh, it's a West Coast style IPA. Wow, that is black as the night.
Yeah, this is so ridiculously dark. I mean, Guinness is dark, but this is the next level dark. All right, let me give this a shot. It's pretty heady. All right, here it goes.
Go for it.
Down the hatch.
At least the first sip.
Oh, wow.
Is that pretty crazy?
It's like sludge.
It's like sludge in your mouth.
This beer is straight sludge, but in such a great way. In all the respects that a stout has to have that roasty, chocolatey flavor,
yeah,
it is all of that to the extreme.
Definitely has it.
I've had some really potent stouts before, but this is up there with the best of them.
Really?
With the sludgiest of them. It's whoa! It's so roasty. Oh man, It doesn't taste like it's 13% alcohol, but it definitely tastes like it's a really, really intense imperial stout. Wow.
Oh, I just tasted mine. It's very good.
Is it?
The grapefruit is not overwhelming, which is very nice. And yeah, it's kind of a light body, but not. It's a lighter body, but it's not like lacking in substance.
Yeah, because that's a single IPA, if I'm correct. Right?
Yes.
It's not a double, so it's not.
Well, it's a West Coast. It's a West Coast IPA.
Like, does that seem like the kind of beer you could sit back and have a couple of them, like while watching a movie or something?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the contrast, because this beer that I'm drinking, I could probably have one of these within like a 2-hour period. And just make it last, because oh boy, this will put some meat on your bones. This will keep you warm in the winter. This will curl your chest hairs.
This will curl your toes. It'll put hair in your chest.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
It'll curl your chest hairs.
Well, if you have chest hairs, they are curled. In fact, they're probably burnt off from this.
Mine are not curled.
I've only got about like 3 chest hairs, but they're already curling from this beer. All 3 of them.
All 3 of them.
Oh, I'm going to take a hair straightener for this.
It's going to taste like nothing. Steve's trying my beer right now.
We did a swapski for the brewski.
Smells
a little sipski after a swapski of the brewski. Yours smells like, I can definitely smell like that grapefruit on yours.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is pretty good, but it's so different, dude. It is so different.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my description. The grapefruit it isn't the most upfront grapefruit, but it's still very present, I'd say. And it's, but it's pretty good. It's refreshing. But in all honesty, after having taken a sip of mine, it was hard to sip yours. I think I'm pretty positive I liked the one that you had, but my mouth is literally coated in black tar.
Yeah.
Of this beer.
I can tell that. It's like someone melted dark chocolate and just tried to drink melted dark chocolate.
Yeah. Yep.
It's pretty good though. I like it.
What does on fleek even mean?
I think it's what all the young hip teenagers are saying to mean.
Yo, man, that beer was on fleek, dude. Like that?
No, I think they're like, wow, my high school glasses are not on fleek.
On fleek.
I wish they were cooler.
But so you're saying on fleek means cool?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. If I am wrong, comment below and tell me what on fleek actually means.
Yeah, because we have absolutely no idea. And literally, we could go on Google and say, what does on fleek mean? But we'd rather you tell us.
Exactly, yeah.
So even if you don't know, just take a guess.
Yeah.
If you do know, tell us that you know and tell us what the answer is, because we would like to know what on fleek means. But in essence, this on fleek beer is glorious sludge.
Yeah, I would say so.
So dark, so delicious.
Very, very good. By the way, Steve is writing that into the app Untapped, which is a great app if you love craft beer. It's essentially social media for beer.
Yeah, it literally is social media for beer. You check in what beer you're having. You follow your friends. You see what they're checking in. You can comment on theirs. You can
cheers them.
Cheers it. Oh, it's just a great app. And they are not sponsoring us. We just love them that much.
But you know who is sponsoring us?
Yeah, speaking of sponsors, this week's program is sponsored by the band Jungle Rhubarb and the Destiny Tangerine. Yeah. Looking for a band that shares rich harmonies and comedy? Look no further, because Jungle Rhubarb and the Destiny Tangerine has all that in one.
They've been known to play a few shows, and they mostly focus on world travel.
Yes, they do.
They're famously known to cover the song Africa by Toto.
I have.
With slight variations.
Very slight, but I have heard them play that. Lovely band. Lovely band. And I hear they're lovely gentlemen as well.
Yes, and so thank you, Jungle Rhubarb and the Destiny Tangerine, for sponsoring Brews and Tunes.
So go check them out. I believe their music is on Spotify. Not sure if it's on iTunes, but it's definitely on Spotify. I believe you can find it on YouTube.
It's also on Bandcamp.
It's on Bandcamp. Go connect on Facebook. And I guarantee you there's no other bands that have a similar name, because Jungle Rhubarb and the Destiny Tangerine is such a unique name, and it is so out there. Nobody could have copied it. It is one of a kind.
Nobody could have even randomly thought of it.
And in fact, if you listen to them, I'm pretty sure they have a song that details how they got that name.
Yes, they do.
Clever
band.
I'd like to hang out with those cool cats.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Maybe they're on fleek.
Maybe they are on fleek. If that's a bad thing, they're definitely not on fleek. But if on fleek is a good thing, they're totally on fleek.
Yes, exactly. Anyway.
But enough about beer, because we're going to have beer throughout the rest of the podcast. Let's talk about some tunes.
Yeah, let's.
I'm going to start off with this John Foreman EP, Fall.
Yep.
So essentially,
this is from This is from a group of EPs.
Yes. So this is what Jesse recommended for me to listen to this past week. And it's from the singer-songwriter, musician, artist, whatever you want to call him, John Foreman, who is essentially the frontman from Switchfoot. He just does some solo projects stuff.
Yep.
And this is from one of his collective works.
One of his collections of EPs, yeah.
So he's got, I believe, 2 collections of EPs. This one is from the Seasons collection, where he's got 4 EPs, one for fall, spring, summer, and winter. And I'm not gonna lie, I've only listened to fall, but I would like to check out more after listening to this one. So you never know.
Yep.
Just to be transparent here, Jesse actually sent me these EPs probably 4 years ago. He gave me all this music to listen to.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm totally going to listen to this because I love Switchfoot. And knowing myself, I didn't listen to a single song. So I have all these songs sitting on my computer, and I just didn't do anything.
Just never got around to it. That's the beauty of Brews and Tunes.
It's the beauty of Brews and Tunes. So what else am I going to do but listen to this because Jesse recommended it for me?
Yeah, so what did you think of it?
Overall, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was killer. And this kind of falls under the Switchfoot curse for me, where I'll listen to something and I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I psych myself up. I'm going to say, oh my goodness, I have to listen to every single album that they've ever released because I know I'm going to love it, and then I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to try and not let that be the case for this. I want to listen to the rest of the EPs after this.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would recommend Spring next.
Oh, well, I'll try to actually follow through and listen to it.
It won't be for next week, but
Oh, yeah.
just on our off days.
Yes. So let's delve into that.
Yeah, let's.
And actually, maybe we should give a little preface. Like we said before, that we're doing EPs in cans. So obviously, the can is a smaller beer. I'm assuming most of you know this, but assuming is not a good thing.
True.
An EP is essentially a smaller album. It stands for extended play.
Yeah.
Generally, it's a collection of songs, usually anywhere from 5 to 7 songs.
5 to 7, yeah.
In that range. Whereas like a full album is called an LP for long play. I'm not sure who came up with those names, extended play, long play.
They don't really make any sense to me. Like it feels like extended play would be longer than long play, but
And like anything that's 1 to 3 songs is usually like a single.
yeah.
So this week, that's why we're doing EPs, just shorter things. This John Foreman EP is only 6 songs, so we're going to delve into them pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of content there, man.
He is a content generator of dense content, indeed.
Yes, he is a...
Dense aplenty, content aplenty.
Now, of course, I might be biased.
It's a good and plenty. Yeah, Jesse's very biased.
I might be
Switchfoot is
biased.
his favorite band.
Just because John Foreman's like my favorite singer-songwriter in the entire world.
So therefore, I am a fresh set of ears.
I mean, it's just like the same thing with you and Blink-182.
Come on, though. Everyone loves Blink-182. Let's be honest.
I don't see why people wouldn't like Blink-182.
You don't knock Kanye West off the charts unless you're... Oh, no. Drake. You don't knock Drake off the charts unless you're the greatest. A.K.A. Blink-182.
They did that with California?
Oh, yeah. California
Really?
knocked Drake off the #1 spot in Billboard.
Nice.
For all of you who have not heard the album California by Blink-182, do yourself a favor and listen. Life-changing. Game-changing.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
It changed my life.
That'll move the chains.
That'll move the chains.
That's what they say about that album. That'll move the chains. All right, but back to John Foreman. The first song is called "The Cure for Pain," and when you look at the song title, you're like, "The Cure for Pain. What is that?"
Yeah.
Because pain is a very human emotion, and
very.
And sure, it's good to go through pain, but does anyone really like pain? Is it something that anyone's ever like happy to be in? Like, if you're going through a painful time, are you happy? Not really, no.
Not when you're in that pain.
And so, if you find the cure for pain, that's
a pretty big thing.
That's a very big thing.
It's like finding the cure for cancer.
I mean, kind of.
Not in the same way.
Not really. I mean, that's a nice analogy, but a little different. Emotionally, yeah.
Say that.
And I've said it before in other podcasts. I'll say it again. I am not a lyrics first guy. I'm always a music, melody, chord progression first guy. And the very first thing I wrote about the song...
the best of both worlds in this album.
Yes, I said instant like. And I want to say the chord progression was so simple. It's like a 4-chord progression.
Yeah.
The melody is even simple, but when you put those things together, solid gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of a slower tempo song, but that
It is, yeah.
doesn't matter. Tempo doesn't matter.
Ooh.
Yeah, that tasted really malty, just like that. This Fleek beer. You know,
this Fleek beer.
I just had a totally Fleek burp. I'm Fleek belching left and right, guys.
Man, I'm fleeking out right now.
I'm fleeking from the inside.
I'll see you on the Fleek side.
Oh gosh.
Anyway,
right, back to the good stuff. So yeah, like I said,
back to the good stuff.
This song is very simple melodically, very simple chord progression wise, but when the two go together, it's different than a lot of chord progressions and melody combinations that I've heard, and it's really almost like if you don't even listen to the words, it kind of gives you that feeling where the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and you get that kind of chilling sensation. Almost.
Yeah.
It's just a really moving sound.
What it just kind of makes sense.
Yes, it very much makes
like they
sense.
come together and you're like, yes, that's the way like this should sound.
Yeah. And that's for that being like the first song I'm hearing out of John Foreman's solo career, that was a good selling point for me, because I was like, oh my, he's got his stuff down, even though I knew he did that from Switchfoot, because Switchfoot's got a lot of good stuff.
Yes.
Aside from the music being fantastic, the lyrics are very dense but really kind of thought-provoking and really intense. I don't know. I wrote down this one lyric. I spent 10 years singing gravity away, but the water keeps on falling from the sky.
Yeah.
And he has other variations of that same line throughout the song, like I keep singing doubts away, but the tears keep falling from my eyes, et cetera, et cetera. And when you just, back to the first line I said, when you just think about that, 10 years doing anything is a long time.
Yep.
That's something you spend your life's work, your career doing, something 10 years. And so if you spend 10 years trying to change something that's impossible, only to realize that
it's not possible.
It literally is impossible, and you sit there and watch the rain come down, even though you're trying to wish gravity away, sing gravity away, and you watch that, and you're like, what's my purpose for? Like, what am I doing if all I'm working for is just going to end in this stuff that's out of my control?
Yeah, and I think that really just relates to the title of the song, "The Cure for Pain."
There is
there is no cure for pain. Like, you just kind of have to deal with it. You have to accept it.
And that's literally what he's saying. Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I was going to say too, because that's one of my favorite lines of all of his solo stuff. Mm-hmm. It
would be a lie to run away.
It'd be a lie to run away. Yeah,
and I wrote that.
It'd be a lie to run
away from the pain. Yeah, because you could try to run away from the pain, but you're lying to yourself. You're lying to the world. You're lying to everything. If you say you can run away from the pain. And the last thing I wrote is, you can't avoid the pain. Yeah.
I mean, it's and I think that's the point of the song. Like, the cure for pain is accepting the fact that you're in pain. And then moving forward through that.
Yeah, it all comes back to that principle of lows and highs. If you don't have lows, how can you have highs, and vice versa? If there's no pain, how can there be happiness and love?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, it's the yin and yang type thing.
And I'll come back to this later, but he's talking about this pain, how there's always pain. And the first song and the very last song is about letting love go. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's on accident.
Oh, no.
But we'll say that for the last song.
Yeah, none of the stuff he writes is on accident.
Yeah, he is very articulate and very intentional with what he writes, which is far from how I write. So I should take some notes when I listen to his music.
And I also wish I could write like that.
Yeah,
but it's
a gift.
Tough. Like,
it's a gift.
Crazy, man. I mean, he's also been doing this for like half his life, though.
Yeah, at least 10 years, I guess, right? Nah.
But yeah, that is my favorite line. One of my favorite lines that he's ever written is, I spent 10 years trying to sing gravity away.
But still, the rain keeps falling
from the sky. Yeah.
Oh, it's powerful.
It's, if you just like sit and actually think about that lyric, it's
and
crazy.
I think you told me this at one point in time, where I could be just making this up, which I tend to do this a lot.
You do that a lot, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure you at one point said that John Foreman has stated that he writes for the thinking man. Like, he doesn't water stuff down or dumb things down, right?
Yeah.
He writes for people to delve into and think about things.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, he said that, like, through music, this is what I'm paraphrasing, of course, but John Foreman has said that he like he's able to deal with tough issues that like in normal conversation you wouldn't really be able to talk about. But whenever he's up on stage like singing, it almost feels natural to like talk about the difficult issues through song, or like the things that he's really struggling with, and like just being completely honest, because it feels like that's a great medium to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Or to like start a dialogue.
Oh yeah.
You know, between him and his fans.
Yeah.
So,
Second song, Southbound Train.
Yeah.
Whereas the first song was very much like an acoustic driven song.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there are some other things going on production wise, but essentially it's just a guitar and a vocal part.
Yeah.
This song starts off with this driving cello. Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum,
And so that took me for a turn. Like I'm expecting this acoustic only album, and then I hear these cellos come in. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is kind of odd. And then a harmonica comes in.
Yeah, you're like, ooh.
I know,
nice.
yeah. And it's called Southbound Train, so it's pretty obvious that the cello going bum 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 is a train.
Yeah, and then the harmonica is like the whistle and the steam going out of the train.
There's a word for that. It's
Word
not like
for what?
it's not like text imagery, but it's
Oh.
where they use an instrument to convey.
There probably is a word for
We
it.
learned about this in one of our music classes in
Yeah,
college.
we must have.
Sorry to all of our professors, if you would, even though none of them are going to be listening.
Sorry, Dr. Bob. Sorry, D-Kicks.
Sorry, D-Kicks.
Sorry, Dr. Wong.
She won't be listening.
She won't be listening.
If you are listening,
Maybe
Dr. Wong,
D-Kicks actually
Yeah.
might listen.
I hope D-Kicks listens. He's a great guy.
He probably would. He is.
Yeah.
If you're listening right now, D-Kicks,
Sorry.
you're a great guy.
You're a great guy, and sorry that we don't remember this one specific term. But essentially, he's using these musical ideas to reflect a
Train.
train, a real life
And then
idea.
And I don't know if you have picked up on this, but throughout the song, like I like what I imagine is him actually riding on a train,
Oh yeah,
and like that's and he's like just like kind of thinking.
and he talks about like putting his head on the window and looking out.
Yeah,
as he's
yeah,
on a
yeah.
train,
So it's like the
So
whole
it's
song is
definitely on
creating this like image in my head, at least, of him actually sitting on a train,
Yeah.
like going back home.
When I think about that, I think about the one time in my life when I took a Greyhound bus back to Pittsburgh, and it was miserable. I had so many stops and transfers, and it was just sitting on a bus for that extended period of time with a bunch of people you don't know. It's just literally counting down until you reach your destination, which is home. Ooh. And he talks about that, heading home. Like
Yeah.
he says that. And here's the line I wrote down. Heading home, but not so sure. Home's a place you can get to by train.
Mm.
So what do you think that means? Is that a religious connotation there, you think?
I mean, I don't know.
Or is the journey like a metaphor for life?
Yeah,
This can go in so many different directions. And that's why
Yeah.
John Foreman writes for a thinking man, because this can go in so many different directions
Let me look up the
that you have to
lyrics.
kind of decipher what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, at least production music wise, this had such a different feel from the first song, and essentially that's really good. A good kind of method that if you're going to have a short album, you don't want to have everything the same. Well, even if you have a long album, you want to have that contrast in between songs, and I think
Yeah.
at least 2 songs into the album, he does a really good job with that. And it's got this kind of silky smooth, soothing production because the strings come back, and he's got more than just cellos. He's got a full string section going on in the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's talking about a train as in traveling through life. That's how I was reflecting it.
So the lyrics are, "Oh, I guess they'll say I've grown. I know more than I wanted to know. I've said more than I wanted to say."
Which is looking back on your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm headed home. Yeah, but I'm not so sure. That home is a place you can still get to by train.
Mm-hmm. So, what would you say?
So I mean,
Just based on
this
that.
could also, you could also take the angle of him like being on the road so long, and like how his home isn't like one place.
No, that I didn't even think about that
Yeah.
aspect. Like, being a touring musician and being on the road all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting part. I didn't think about that at all.
The rhythm of the southbound train. Oh my gosh. Did you notice one of the verses in here kind of it reminded me of a Simon and Garfunkel song?
About heading on a Greyhound bus to Pittsburgh?
No. The verse where the wind starts to look like her hair and the clouds in her bright blue eyes, and the sea and the shore fall and rise like her breast as she breathes by my side. I'm trying to remember what Simon & Garfunkel song is it, but it's like talking about a girl sleeping next to you.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like Wednesday morning 3. How's that song go?
3
Wednesday morning 3 a.m. But that song's about like robbing a store and going to jail. But it's next to a girl who's sleeping and watching the breast rise and fall.
Yeah. That lyric reminded me of that.
We love Simon & Garfunkel here at Brews and Tunes. You should all check out their entire discography. Absolutely fantastic thinking songs, rich content, fantastic harmonies.
Yeah.
They're a song for a generation. Mm-hmm. On to song number 3.
Yes.
This song is called Lord Save Me From Myself. And again, in keeping with the tradition of this EP, the title is deep again and dense, and you can think about a lot just by looking at the title.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at the title before you listen to it, it might give you some expectations, something to look for. It provides a background already even before you listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
First thing that I noticed was the great finger picking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was on a steel string acoustic guitar, but it almost had that nylon feel because it was just so glorious, the finger picking. It reminded me that I'm not a good finger picking guitar player. As most songs remind me that I'm a terrible musician, this one does as well.
Oh my gosh, Steve.
But essentially, what I got out of this song is that there's a desire to keep moving forward in purpose and finding new ventures and trying to find new reasons to move forward. Like I said, the purpose. Because there's the first line that kind of struck me is he said sex. It's a sex line. He says sex is a grand production, but I'm bored with that.
But I'm bored with that as well. Yeah.
When in music have you ever heard someone saying something like that?
Never.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of music that talks about sex. Let's be honest, but it's never talking about being bored with it.
It's usually glorifying it in some way.
And so he's essentially casting that aside and saying, he says it's grand production, so he's saying it's a great thing, but I'm bored with that. There's got to be something else, right? So trying to find a bigger purpose. Try to find something else.
Yeah,
right?
Sex is a grand production, yeah.
And he also says one more line, the world is where I breathe, let it never be called home. And I think that's almost the same line as sex is a grand production, but on a much larger scale.
Yeah.
A macro scale, if you will.
Yeah.
And so he's saying...
a macro scale, if you will.
That's a little college level...
college level word.
Yeah. This is on a macro scale, if you will. No. Literally, I'm pretty positive in the song he's saying, these things in this world are great, but there has to be more because I can't just accept that this is all. Because this is the same thing over and over again. Lord, save me from myself.
Yeah,
when he says myself, he's saying save me from being content, save me from only living in this, save me from just being this.
Yeah, and I mean the first verse is also a great example. I mean, every single verse is a great example of that, I suppose. But the first verse says, my mind is dull and faded from these years of buy and sell. My eyes have seen the glory of this hollow modern shell. So, I mean, that...
Is the shell his body, his life? What would you say?
No, it's his life, this hollow modern shell. So,
that was a modern shell.
But what it is, I mean...
What it is, what it isn't.
To me, that just means, because the line before that, from these years of buy and sell. So that's obviously talking about consumerism,
yeah, definitely.
In general, and then this hollow modern shell.
Yeah.
It's there's no substance because it's hollow. Mm-hmm. Modern shell being, I guess, just in general how people live today. You know. And so then Lord save me from myself.
But content-wise, it's dense. It makes you think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Musically, he's got some funky chords in there. Mm-hmm. Some things it's a great melody, but there's this one chord. I don't know if it's in a bridge or a prelude, whatever it is. But I really expect this one chord to be coming up, and It throws me for a loop, yeah.
And it doesn't? Yeah.
Off the back, I can't think of where it comes up in the song, but it comes up multiple times.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes me appreciate his songwriting because as a person who's listened to a lot of music, I know a lot of chord progressions. I know what to listen for and what to expect. And when I hear a chord that throws me for a loop, I really appreciate it when it works. Yeah. And it works in this song big time. On to the next song, which is the fourth song. It's called Equally Skilled, and this is hands down my favorite on the album. And I'm sorry I haven't been ranking these songs.
Yeah. Do you really need to rank
Here's how I'm going to rank these songs. Fleek or not Fleek?
That is the question.
This is the Fleekest of all of the songs. This song is so on Fleek.
This is the Fleekest of the Fleek.
Oh, it's Fleek to the max.
Unless Fleek is a bad thing. Then...
And then this is so far from Fleek that you couldn't even believe it. But no, this is hands down my favorite.
I think it's probably my favorite as well.
Musically, it's pretty darn good, but for me being a music-only guy, this is a little different because it's the content that made me love this song the most.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Whenever I first heard this song, I was like, wow.
Yeah, same here, actually.
I was like, he is just like...
laying it down.
Just like laying down
the truth.
Like,
but
ridiculous.
In the intro, he's got these. It's like a he does like a ooh ah type harmony, and it's got at least 3 or 4 harmonies going, and it's really cool. John Foreman-esque harmonies. Well, the only reason I say it because I've heard the exact same harmony stylings in Switchfoot.
Yeah.
But I heard that I was like, ooh, nice. But essentially, the whole song is a contrast. It's a religious song for those of you listening who are not religious. Sorry, we're about to go there.
Yeah, but I mean,
even if you
aren't religious, like it's still
pretty cool.
Song.
Yeah, and you can appreciate it at least for what it is.
For nothing else, but just the fact that it is a well written song.
Yeah. So bear with us if you're not religious. If you are religious. You'll like this.
You should probably listen to the song.
Listen to it multiple times, yeah. But essentially, this shows the contrast between sinners and God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, literally, the contrast between sinners and God.
And just keep in mind the title, Equally Skilled.
Yeah, contrast between the sinner and God. The reason why I keep pointing that out is I have notes in front of me, and I misspelled God as good. Sometimes when I'm writing, my brain thinks faster than I can write.
Yes, same.
So I read that, I was like,
That's why I have such bad handwriting.
Oh, my handwriting's atrocious.
Yours is better than mine, though.
Yeah, but that's not saying much, dude.
Like, you probably can't read some of the stuff that I wrote.
Some of those words are out there, dude.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
No. Okay, so back to this song. The title, Equally Skilled... if you just look at the title, that might not really give much away for you. Mm-hmm. Essentially, what he's saying is our hands are equally skilled. Like, as being a human being, we all have equally skilled hands at committing injustices and evil. Like, we're all capable of corruption and perversions and all these, well, just not so nice things. As human beings, we're equally skilled at being bad. Mm-hmm. And that's the chorus that comes back is... We're equally skilled at perverting justice, equally skilled. And it's this nice melody, and it just repeats the phrase equally skilled.
Equally skilled at doing evil, equally skilled at bribing the judges, equally skilled.
And so it's that he keeps saying equally skilled and then a line, equally skilled and then a line. And then about halfway, 3/4 of the way through the song, there's a key change. He goes up.
Yep.
And key changes are in most pop music,
over me.
I know, but in most pop music, key change is just a tool to make it not boring.
Exactly, yeah.
In this song, the key change is to reflect a difference in subject.
Yeah, but just think of Beyonce in that one song.
Oh, I can't.
There are like 5 key changes in it, and it's annoying. Anyway,
Beyonce is good though, but he uses this key change to show the difference. After the key change, he starts to reflect on God, where he says, God is equally skilled at, give me a line.
He says, and both of his hands are equally skilled at ruining evil.
Yes.
Equally skilled at judging the judges.
Yeah, and so
equally skilled administering justice.
It's the same melody over the chorus, and it's just such a difference in content. And it's really cool to say, essentially he's saying we're all equally skilled, and by putting that same melody over the content, I think that's really cool to kind of have that nice contrast and comparison.
Yeah.
And I only learned this factoid through my mother.
I learned through my sister, Emily.
Okay. I called my mom and told her to listen to this song because I figured she'd like it. And she did, but she was reading through some YouTube comments, which you got to be careful on YouTube. There's some people say some mean things on YouTube comments.
They do.
We call them internet trolls. But she found that this text in the chorus is based on a Bible verse, Micah 7, 1 through 9. And that talks about being equally skilled, and or not equally skilled, but our hands are capable of doing injustices and evil.
Yeah.
But for John Foreman to take that and turn to a well-crafted, beautifully written song, that's an artist right there.
And then the last verse also says, the last chorus says, and both of his hands are equally skilled at showing me mercy, at loving the loveless, and administering justice again.
Yeah.
So
for those of you who aren't religious, just think about committing injustices versus loving the loveless.
yeah,
Big
exactly.
difference.
Like,
Right?
I mean, like even if you're not religious, like you know that like injustices are bad, and loving people who don't normally get love that's good.
Yeah.
You know, and so even in that respect, like it's just a beautiful song.
On to song number 5, which is called "The Moon Is a Magnet." Bam! My least favorite song.
But it's
song is totally least Fleek.
But it's my favorite song. So
This song is fleekless to me. Fleekless. No, I can't say it's fleekless. It's just my least favorite because I don't really dislike it. It's just my least favorite.
the reason I love this song so much is because I believe it accurately portrays the human existence.
I can understand that essentially, but
I also love the bass clarinet.
it is so jazz. Is that a bass? Okay, because I wrote clarinet question mark because I wasn't sure what the instrument was.
Yeah, it's a bass clarinet.
It's a very, very jazzy song. The chord progression is really out there. He plays some really random chords. The time signature is so hard to follow.
It's very obscure.
I'm trying to count out the time signature. I cannot figure it out.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's very odd, but I love it though.
Yeah, singing along is difficult because of the time signature. But, I mean, it is a cool song. Like I said, it's my least favorite. But the biggest thing I can get out of the song is the one line where he says, "What are we if we're not in love?"
And then he contrasts that by saying, in the next, like, I divide this song into two parts. A.
I also wrote down a couple
prime.
other lines.
I divide it into A and then A prime.
Fair enough. But that line, I really like that line. What are we if we're not in love? Because essentially, what is human existence if there's no love? We're just a bunch of dirtbags. That's all it is. We have no purpose.
Dust in the wind.
Yeah, there's no purpose if there's no love.
All we are is dust in the wind.
Those are bad harmonies. Let's move on.
They were. Let's move on.
So there's that line, and then he talks about being like he's like a kiss is contagious, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But he also says a kiss will betray us.
A kiss will betray us all. Yeah.
And that's I'm not going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say that's directly a biblical reference.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the kiss that Judas gave to Jesus.
Yeah, definitely is.
It's a biblical reference.
Yeah.
But I mean, this song is very short.
It is.
It's like a minute 30 maybe?
Minute and a half, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very short song. If you guys like jazz music, you'd probably like this more than most pop music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that I divide this into A and A prime, that's not the reason. But, oh man, grapefruit burps. Woof. Anyway,
Are those
so
good burps?
Yeah, they're nice. You wouldn't know because you're not drinking the grapefruit IPA.
Well, I took a sip of it, but I'm not having burps like you.
Anyway, so this song is divided into A and A prime in my mind because in the first part he says, "What are we if we're not in love?" Right? So you have that aspect of humanity, the aspect that like people are in love, like relationships happen, like people, you know, not only romantically love each other, but love each other as friends and, you know, whatever else. And like that is one part that makes us very human and like is part of our humanity. And then in the second part of the song, he says, "What are we if we're not alone?" And so you have that aspect of it as well, because there are times in everybody's life where you are like you feel very loved or you feel very alone. And so he's just kind of like saying like this is who we are. Like this is what in a part of what it means to be human. Like it's to be alone. It's to be loved. It's both of those things
Yeah.
together, kind of like the yin and yang. The yin and yang again from the which song was that? Equally Scaled.
Yeah.
Was it Equally Scaled?
Equally Scaled had the comparison.
The same type of comparison, like A and B, or I mean A and A prime.
Yeah.
Like, but only with both though do you really find the human existence in general.
Correct. On to song number 6.
So that's why it's my favorite song.
And it's my least favorite song. Well, it's my least favorite song because of music.
Yeah.
I'm not a jazzy guy.
Boo.
Sorry.
I think it sounds awesome based on.
Hey, I gotta have my own opinions. I'm my own person.
That's true.
And you have your own opinions. And I respect those. Alright, the last song on the album is called My Love Goes Free.
Mm-hmm.
And
what were you saying in contrast to the first song?
we'll get back to that in a second.
Okay.
The first thing that struck me in the song is it's piano driven, which I don't really think of pianos when I think of Switchfoot Soul. I just assume that John Foreman doesn't play piano.
No, he does. In the song "Yet" from Hello Hurricane, I believe, he plays piano in that.
And I've only listened to.
Wait, no, it's not "Yet."
Well, either way,
one of those songs.
One
he
of those
plays
songs,
piano on that.
But it's really cool.
Well, maybe Jerome
chord
does.
progression, like piano wise, it's pretty cool. And it draws you in. It's very pleasant sounding, and it's very gentle. It's a nice, relaxing song. And he says "you," which I'm assuming is a she, or I don't know, any type of pronoun you can put in there, are a bird. And then a little bit later he says, "If you love her, let her go."
Yeah.
And I think of that reference, like that metaphor of a bird letting a bird go, because essentially when you think of like a bird, you think of this peaceful, calm, elegant animal. You don't think of birds as being rare, You just think of this.
Unless you're thinking of a vulture.
Yeah, but when you think of a bird, a vulture is not what comes to mind. An
True,
owl or an eagle or
maybe
a hawk
like
is not what comes to mind.
A sparrow.
Maybe think of a sparrow or a mourning dove,
like a blue jay,
just something that
cardinal,
if you held your finger out,
robin,
would perch on your finger and be this peaceful,
parakeet,
calm, gentle animal.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I think of when I think of a bird. And then he's talking about letting his love go, letting this bird go because it's something that needs to fly free.
Yeah.
And the bird reference is not unique to John Foreman.
Oh,
it's a reference that's come and gone in literature and in art and everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very popular metaphor to use. And he's using it about his love. Or about love in general, right? Would you say love in general?
Yeah, I would say so.
Don't hold your love back because it's something that's not meant to be held back.
It's not. Yeah, it's not something that's meant.
It's something that was designed
to be
shared. Yeah.
To be expressed.
Yeah.
To be
and so
free.
That's where the contrast between the first song is.
Yeah.
Pain is something that you can't avoid, and pain is low. It's dark. It's icky. It's bad. No one likes pain. Whereas in the very last song, love is grand. Love is great. Love is free. Or love should be free. Love is gentle.
Yeah.
Love is something that should be shared. And it's the biggest difference between this and the first song.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so smart in the way that he put that in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because he could have switched around to the opposite intentionally, but that would leave you like I don't know.
Sour note at the end.
Yeah, and a sour note. But it's him knowing that he's creating a full body of work. He did this and left it on a positive note. And in the chorus, he goes into falsetto, and it's just really, really beautifully done. And it's just, it's really good.
Yeah, it definitely is.
But all in all, I think this EP was fantastic.
I agree.
So, what else could I have to say about this EP? I don't know. What do you think, Jesse? Say something real quick.
Huh?
Okay. Well, that doesn't give me any clue at all. No, but in all truth, I think it was a fantastic EP. I'm not entirely sure why he put all this content into the fall EP, because when I think of fall, I think of a transition period, because that's what fall is transitioning from summer into winter. So you're transitioning into joy, which I associate with summer, joy, friendship, being free, being able to fly free, able to roam, do whatever you want, compared to winter where it's cold and dark and not friendly and you're isolated and trapped. So those are two very, very, very different emotions, states of being. And so fall is the transition period in between those two. So I have to believe that John Foreman was smart about this in writing songs about transition. So he had to think, I'm going from summer to winter. I have to write an album about that transition period. So I know that you said to listen to spring next, correct?
Yeah.
But I'm more tempted to listen to summer and winter because I'd like to know how fall fits into that.
Okay.
As a whole.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's definitely related.
Yes. So let's move on to the next album, which you listened to.
The EP by the band Real Friends, called "Pull Yourself Back Together."
Real Friends is a pop punk band that I heard about in college from one of my buddies, Mike Bolster. Shout out. He actually sent me one of their songs on Facebook. I think it was after one of the EPs came out, because they did like 3 or 4 EPs before. Before they did any full-length albums.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna before you get into the album, I'm gonna preface this. Real Friends, essentially like the name Real Friends. What do you think of when you think of Real Friends? The name.
Real friends.
Yeah, a friend who's real, someone who's honest, down to earth, who's gonna be there for you in the times that you need them.
Yeah.
And
which is the opposite of what other songs are about.
Yeah. Well, no, because
but most of their songs.
Their songs are about being honest and open.
Yeah.
Their bass player writes all their songs, and he's come from some hard relationships. I know it's because I've read interviews and stuff like that.
Writes all their lyrics.
Writes all their lyrics, correct. And they're mainly about being in really low places and having some gnarly, sad relationships and kind of getting that out in the open.
Yeah.
And so I related to that. But that's what he writes about, and he's saying you got to have essentially how I feel it is, you got to have real friends to help you through these times.
Yeah.
And so this album is, I want to say, their third EP. I think it's their third EP.
Okay.
And I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. So the first track, track 1, is called "Late Nights in My Car."
And that is one of their most popular songs.
Really?
I've seen them probably 5 or 6 times, and I want to say they've closed almost every show with that.
It's a good song. I mean, like, I really like the music. I like the tone of the guitar. Like, it's got that pop punk feel, you know?
Oh, definitely.
Which I love.
It's got the fast
guitar, fast drums.
It's got good guitar tones.
Good melodies, you know, like. And one thing I noticed throughout the whole album, but especially with this song, is that the lyrics are not like metaphorical at all. You know, like they're like not metaphors.
Oh no, this is
like
directly like his story.
It's like literally like he's just like, I gotta get this out. And
it's
just
essentially it's a journal entry.
Yeah, essentially it's a journal
song,
entry. Yeah.
That's all of their songs.
Yeah, so like they're not convoluted. They're not.
You don't have to analyze it.
Yeah, they're very straightforward.
Yes, which is kind of why I like it, because sometimes, like, when you have to analyze a song, you could be like, you might think it's the exact reasoning behind a stanza or a lyric, but you could be wrong.
Yeah, but this, you're like,
you know exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what he wants to say, and that's why he said it.
But both styles of writing have their own merits.
Yeah, exactly. And so this song, first of all, has a very great bridge. Good contrast to the rest of the song. But during the bridge, he has the lyric, which kind of brings the title of the EP into play. And the bridge lyric is, "If you never break, you'll never know how
to pull yourself back together."
Yeah, but he repeats it. Yeah, he repeats it. If you never break, you'll never know how. So like, but I mean, it seems like that's almost the
theme of the album.
The theme of the album, like the point of the album.
And so I suppose it makes sense to put that at the beginning, right?
I mean, point of the EP. But
yeah.
Yes. So yeah, like if you,
it's a negative album. They're kind of a negative band, but that's a positive message, right?
Yeah, like if you never break, you'll never know how to pull yourself back together. You know,
I love that line.
And like that's a great line. Like it's very true. Like if you never put yourself out there, if you never try, like you're never gonna know how to get better. You're never gonna know how to improve yourself. You know? Word to your mom.
And your father too.
Oh, was that a Jungle Rhubarb reference?
It most certainly was. I have to shout out our sponsors left and right, dude.
Yeah.
Our sponsors are so Fleek every week. We have the Fleek a week.
They are Fleek masters.
Yeah. And so I was trying to think of a really good catchphrase. Every week, our sponsors are Fleek.
Every week, our sponsors are Fleek.
No. But seriously, if you guys like have a business and you want to sponsor our podcast, reach out. We'll be a sponsor. We'll shout you out.
We'll give you a shout
hook
out.
You up.
We will hook you up with all the viewers.
All the viewers, all the customers, all the subscribers, whatever. We'll make it happen, Captain.
All of the X's.
I don't know what that means.
You know, like X amount. So, like, it's a variable. So, like...
Okay, I understand it now, but that was the way we were going to say it.
Whatever.
Back to real
I was
friends.
just trying.
Back to real friends.
So anyway, that song was very good. I gave it 4 out of 5. I really liked it. The next
Definitely
song,
4 out of 5, yeah.
The next song is called Skin Deep.
Oh, I love that song.
It's a good song. Very catchy.
Fast.
And what I said was catchy. In parentheses, all of the songs are. But I
Is
like
that the song that goes, this time around I wasn't honest enough with how
yeah.
That noise I just made was a drum beat.
The drums, yeah.
Yeah. It's a super fast, awesome beat.
But there's a cool Jimmy Eat World reference.
Oh yeah, I've got this lonely night in Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if he's referencing any particular songs by them, but
Jimmy Eat World.
But Jimmy Eat World is another one of those bands that if you ever listen to their stuff, they're pretty Main Street about their emotions and about like how they feel, and so it's I don't want to say emo because I don't like to say Jimmy Eat World and emo in the same sentence, but
you just did though.
I know. But Jimmy Eat World's got one of those bands that you can listen to and get some real emotions out of, and I think that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the one line that I really like, or was kind of interested in about this song, from this song, was the line, I've been told home is where the heart is.
Oh.
If that's the case, I've never been home.
Yeah, that line hits me pretty hard too, because when they say that.
It's just like, oh man.
So this guy's in a dark place, right?
Yeah,
I've been told that home is where... You've heard that line, am I right? Home is where the heart is?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Hallmark line.
And essentially, that's... So he's saying, where's my heart's been ripped out. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what my heart is. I don't know what I care about anymore. I don't know...
Yeah, I mean...
My world's upside down. Essentially.
Yeah. I gave that song 3.75 out of 5, but after talking about it, I'd probably give it a 4.
Word to your mom.
And your father who? The track 3 is called Dead.
Oh yeah.
Or as the Germans say, Tot.
Das ist tot, ja? Ein Prost.
Ein Prost.
Do we have any German listeners out there? If so,
Ja oder nein?
Yeah. If so, leave a comment in the below section.
Saying if we pronounce the German words correctly.
Yeah, and we're gonna sing a song for you in German right now.
Okay. Well, you will, because I don't know it.
Prosit, ein Prosit, Vergemutlichkeit. I think. Ein Prosit, ein Prosit. Let's drink some more beer.
Yeah!
Sicky sucky, sicky sucky. Oi, oi, oi.
Nice. Good German song.
Because I'm 25% German. You are 0.
I'm some percentage, like 5%.
Okay, so Jesse's maybe 5%, but you're mostly Norwegian.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now back to the song Dead.
Now back to the song Dead, yeah.
Track number 3.
I kind of didn't write a lot about this song.
It's not a faster song. It's
like, I mean, it's just like
medium tempo.
It's like the same thing. It's like
Spit in my face. Tell me I didn't know what I said.
That's another thing I noticed about like their melodies. It's like they're all good, but they all sound very similar.
Oh, they're very similar, yes.
So I said same as the last song, not content-wise, obviously, but like same type of guitar parts, same type of drums. Very catchy, good melody. You know, like it's still good, but like it's like, okay.
All right, now that you're...
But he keeps talking about bony knees.
Yes. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Their singer, he writes a lot of... He actually does a lot of spoken word, a lot of poetry. And his big thing is sunken eyes and bony knees.
Yeah.
And I only know this because I've heard his stuff. I guess he used to be like slightly overweight, and then he went through like a major breakup, and he lost like 50 or 60, like a major amount of weight.
Yeah.
And he had like bony knees, and so he likes talking about like being like kneeling on the floor on his bony knees and sunken eyes and that just that kind of thing. He brings that reference up multiple times throughout their albums.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Because I was wondering about that because like he talks about bony knees in the first song. And the third song, and then I'm pretty sure in like the last song.
Is the last song called Lost Boy?
Yes.
That's a reference that comes up multiple times throughout their music too. And when he says Lost Boy, he is literally talking about the Peter Pan Lost Boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about trying to hold on to like the youthful energy. That's what he's talking about.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But
that makes me like the songs a little bit more.
Now that you're about halfway through,
yeah.
I want to ask you a question about Real Friends.
Okay.
Have you been listening to guitar lines?
Yeah.
Do you notice a lot? Like maybe someone will play like chords, but the other guy is doing a lot of single line guitar lines in the music.
Yeah.
And that I really really like their guitar lines. That they do. Because it's not stuff that I would think to write in music.
Let me read you the first comment on the next song.
Okay, so I was ahead of myself.
The next track called "Dirty Water."
Oh, great! I love that song.
The first thing I wrote was nice guitar intro.
Yep.
Super great line.
Hey, how's that song start?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. I know I love that song, but I'm drawing a blank. Do you have any lines that did you write down any lines from that song?
No.
Dirty Water, Dirty Water.
Pull
Pull up the lyrics. While he's pulling up the lyrics, I'll kind of give a description of these guitar lines that I've been talking about. So essentially in music, you've got a skeleton of a song where there's a chord progression. In a lot of like pop punk music, people play these really, really basic type chords where it's essentially two notes put together in this, we call them power chords.
Yeah, power chords.
There it is.
Essentially, it's just like three notes in one chord.
Yeah.
The tonic, the fifth, and the
tonic.
Tonic.
It's only two notes technically.
Yeah, true. No, it is three notes because one of them is an octave above the other one, so it's two notes.
But for our sake, it's as basic as it gets.
Yeah.
And you just have that playing and then a singing line over top of it. The thing I really like about Real Friends is one of the guitar players does these lines over top of those power chords. That shows really nice contrast to them. And so you're hearing this...
Yeah. Like super chuggy,
you're hearing these chuggy chords.
Punk rock chords.
And then you hear these like individual note lines playing over top of them. And it's just like a really, really awesome, beautiful contrast. And pardon me. You don't hear that in pop punk music all too terribly often. At least not in traditional pop punk. So when you hear it, it's really, really refreshing.
Yeah.
Unlike my beer. Because this Fleek beer is delicious, but not refreshing.
A little bit too heavy.
Your beer is probably refreshing, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you were having one.
Yeah. No, but this Fleek beer is not refreshing, it's hearty.
Very hearty.
It's like a steak dinner because it's putting meat on my bones.
It's like a steak dinner. Yeah. Let me just hit this steak dinner in a can.
But back to Dirty Water.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it was a good bridge. Same thing. Like, it's like they're all good songs. But like, I just kind of get bored sometimes.
Oh, that's easy to do.
So the next song,
After Dirty Water.
I've Given Up on You. Is what it's called.
That's the biggest contrast on the album.
Favorite song on the album because of that.
No percussion. Right? It's just
two
guitars,
single
and a
guitar
vocal.
line.
Yeah. Maybe two guitars because there's someone's
two guitars and a vocal line. Yeah.
And there's a lot of because the guitar parts weave in and out of each other. If you listen to them, it's really cool how they kind of weave in.
And I said it's my favorite song on the EP.
Wow, that's a big statement, dude.
But the reason it's my favorite song is because I've been listening to it straight through. So if I wasn't listening to it straight through, it might not be my favorite song.
Fair enough.
Just because it's such a different contrast in music and also slightly different in lyrical content as well.
Yeah. Lyrical content, it's about
being
being single for the first time almost, like being single again.
like it's
and
still
writing a letter to a loved one who's dating somebody again.
yeah. So it's still kind
So
of
you dated a girl, she broke up with you, and now she's dating someone else. That's what the song's about. I've given up on you, but it still hurts to know that you're not alone.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So it's still kind
how's
of
that for? John Foreman should give them some insight on the cure for pain. Oh,
right.
and then here's how the conversation would go. Whole band, real friends, next to John Foreman, right?
Yeah,
Real friends is like, oh man, I'm so sad, dude. And John Foreman's like,
deal with it.
they're like, hey guys, you just have to accept that pain's real, and you just gotta go through it, man. And then those guys, real friends, will be like, dude, that's so Fleek. I'm not gonna lie, I told that whole story just so I could say Fleek again. Classic. But back to this song.
But yeah,
Tell
so
me about
like
it.
it's just such a nice contrast if you're listening to the album all the way through. Because like it's a slower song. There's no drums. It's there's like a super nice, like you were talking about earlier, the guitar parts. There's like a nice hammer-ons and all this other stuff that's like it's really soft, quiet. It's not distorted. Like it's just super nice. And the lyrical content, like I said earlier, was very different from the rest of it. Well, it's like in the same meta.
It's
but
in
not,
the same realm lyrically, but it's different.
It's different though, in the same
Yeah.
way. So like, yes, it's good. So you take that song and then go into the next
But
song.
before that,
What?
I just want to go back to my favorite line in that last song.
Okay. That one?
No, not that line. That was a belch. Hee
Oh my god.
My favorite line in that song is, lately, my dog's the only one that'll listen to my problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as weird as it sounds, I went through some stuff back in the day with a pretty big breakup.
Yeah.
You know this. I've talked to you about it.
Yeah.
And there were times where I would like be really low, and I'd be at my house, and I would just sit there and talk to my dog.
Yeah.
Like I'm not crazy. I swear I'm not crazy. But like dogs don't know what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I think that's what he's going for. Like dogs don't understand you. They don't know what you're saying, but they will love you no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. Like I just sat there, and my dog was named Buster, and he's moved on to the great dog pound in the sky.
Yeah.
But I would sit there and I'd say, Buster, you know what? I'm in a low place, but you still love me, even though I'm sad.
And then Buster would sneeze, and
Yeah, but he would just look at me like I'm an idiot, but he loved me.
yeah.
And so, like, when I heard that line for the first time, I was just like, oh, I guess I know exactly what this guy's talking about.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's
In a really real place.
that's where it's different from me and you, because like I haven't been through like that type of serious breakup.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
essentially, real friends, the big topics that they talk about are breakups, like bad breakups that are awkward and have lasting effects, and depression. I think they talk about depression a lot in their songs, and kind of social awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
And like I wouldn't say that I'm a huge depressive person. I'm socially awkward, sure.
Same.
We all are.
Yeah. I definitely am.
So I don't really I get sad sometimes. I wouldn't say I'm depressive, but I have that social awkwardness. I don't know how to act in crowds. But the big breakup ones, those are the songs I listen to and I can really relate to.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why I didn't exactly love this album. But I mean, I still really liked it, but I couldn't connect with it as much as I connected with like John Foreman.
Fair enough.
You know?
John Foreman's got more overarching things that can relate to everybody.
Yeah.
Ish.
But so from track 5 on to track 6.
Oh.
This song is called Old and All Alone.
Oh, this is a mean song.
This is a very mean song.
Yeah, I like this song. It's like, if you ever feel angsty, like if you're mad at somebody who like is cut out of your life.
That's what I wrote about
This is the song. Now you explain it, because after me saying that, you explain.
So the first thing I wrote was, whoa. because like the main the main line out of this song is, "When we grow up, I hope you end up old and all alone." And it's just like, oh my goodness, what the heck? And I mean, in a way, this is kind of like the whole tone of the album. You know, like this guy's writing about, you know, a tough breakup or just a tough relationship in general. And so like this is kind of like his in general, like F you to whoever he's writing about, you know, like, when we grow up, I hope you end up old and all alone. And so, I mean, like, I guess that kind of just sums up kind of how I feel about Real Friends. Or at least this EP. I haven't listened to much other Real Friends. But that kind of seems like the general tone of most of their songs. Is just them saying, like, F you, I hope that you end up old and all alone.
Which is pretty brutal.
It's very brutal.
But, you know, based on what they're talking about in their songs...
Exactly what I was just saying.
That's part of the coping process, right?
Exactly what I was just saying.
Yeah, I just had to agree with you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's coping.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, yeah.
But you can't have sadness without anger.
But I still like this song. I give it I gave it 4 out of 5.
And
it was very good.
Catchy, right?
Every single song is catchy on this album.
And
on
like,
this EP.
It's a pop punk album, and pop essentially catchy.
Pop punk is always catchy.
Not always. I've heard some pop punk bands that are not catchy to save their life. There's one more song on the album, correct?
Yes, there is.
Lost Boy.
The last song is called Lost Boy. Obviously, the first thing I wrote was it's catchy because obviously I just said the entire album
all their
is
stuff is catchy. Yes.
But the main thing that I took out of this was one of the lines where he said, "I wish I had the guts to say this to your face." So like that, the last song on the EP, that kind of changes the whole feel of the EP.
Because the whole EP, you're thinking, wow, this is brutal and honest and
and then it's just like, well, this is kind of on his head, and he's not actually saying this to anybody.
Yeah,
and he wishes that he had the guts to
directed
say it.
I feel like this is directed towards like maybe one, maybe two people. I don't know.
Yeah,
but this is definitely directed towards somebody, and for him to say, I don't have the guts to say this.
He's just like, I wish I could say this to you, but I just can't.
Yeah.
And like that's intense.
Isn't
like,
it?
It's crazy.
I think about like if I think about myself like writing some really personal things I need to say to somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Down in a journal and leaving it there.
Exactly. That's if this whole EP feels like a journal that was like put away, you know,
under your mattress
for a while,
under your bed somewhere, right?
Yeah, and then you found it, and like these are lyrics to the song. To all the songs on this album are this like very heartfelt, intense things from.
But essentially, if this is directed towards one person, I'm sure that person heard this EP. You think?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they knew who they were.
Can you imagine what that reaction would be?
Oh, they'd be like,
that stupid songwriter,
that totally not on fleek person.
They're the opposite of Fleek.
You are the opposite of Fleek.
And the opposite of Fleek is technically
off fleek.
No, it's Kielf. Kielf. Which is Fleek backwards. Kielf. No. Kielf. No. Which is on fleek. Kielf. No.
On fleek.
Kielf. No.
Kielf. No. Hashtag Kielf no.
Yeah, if you like this podcast, please do hashtag Kielf no or hashtag on fleek, and we'll know what you're talking about because.
But anyway, overall, this album I gave it. I'm gonna change what I gave it at first. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Mm-hmm. The reason I don't give it 5 out of 5. Is because there wasn't enough variation in the music, except for the 5th song, which I loved.
It is an EP, however.
True.
Which that's just me trying to justify something hard to justify.
Yeah, and also because I personally could not relate to all of the subject matter.
Fair enough. I can respect that, dude.
Yeah. What, off the top of your head, I know you didn't do ratings for your songs.
Oh, I have
but
rating for my songs.
What would you give the fall EP?
4 or 5 out of 5.
4.5?
4.5 out of 5.
Okay, just because it's very difficult to give something a perfect rating.
I've only ever given one band perfect ratings before. And that
Hold on!
Actually,
who could that be? I don't know.
Creed.
Creed?
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I
yeah,
am
he's
just kidding.
Just kidding. It's Nickelback.
He's right. I love Nickelback. Someday, hold on here. No, it's Blink-182.
Of course.
I'm biased towards Blink-182. No, I gave the John Foreman EP a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I think, pardon me, I think it's musically sound. It's really catchy and engaging. Well, I shouldn't say engaging about the music. The music is catchy and attracting, I guess. It draws you in.
Yeah.
Content-wise, lyric-wise, it's engaging and thought-provoking.
Yeah.
And it's real.
It's
very real.
But you know what's interesting though is because that's very real, but the Real Friends EP is also super real.
Yeah, it's just John
Like,
Foreman's.
it's
the realness
though.
about John Foreman is about kind of like.
It's more
It's
meta.
more about like
it's more life.
It's more meta. It's more meta.
more-
It's more life in general, and more about kind of like the journey of all of life.
Yeah, and Real Friends, this EP is also about life, but it's about a very specific aspect of life.
More relationship driven, or the failure of relationships, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
I really like Real Friends. The first song because I heard some of their stuff before and I really liked it, but the first song that drew me in was a song called "I Don't Love You Anymore."
Heard that one before.
It's a really, really good song. I recommend you listen to it if you haven't heard it. But like I said before, I went through some in my past, and that song kind of made me think about things and kind of helped me through some stuff.
Yeah.
And anytime that a band or a poem or a book can help you through a personal time, it's there for a reason. If you
Yeah.
can connect to it, if you can latch on to something that somebody's saying, or if you can have a common shared experience, that means something, you know?
And I mean, I'm sure that's partially like why the band wrote it.
That's definitely why they wrote it,
You
and that's
know.
why they have the fans that they do, because they're writing
Yeah.
stuff from their heart. They're writing real stuff, you know?
Real friends.
Yeah, people can connect to it, and it's just it's honest.
Yeah, I mean, like,
if you listen to pop music,
honestly,
how much of it is honest? There's some I can't say that like top 40 pop music doesn't have honesty in it.
yeah,
But there's a lot of stuff that's just somebody wrote it and sold it to a producer, and
Yeah.
the singer singing it has no connection.
Yeah.
Or even it's just all this fluff material that's not honest.
yeah. I mean, like that's honestly one of the things that I honestly
And like
that's
hold
one
on.
of the things. Okay, go for it.
So you said that you don't connect to this music, right? Not 100%,
Well,
right?
Not like as much as you do.
But you know that they're writing it from an honest place.
Yeah.
And that means something. Even though you don't
Yeah.
connect to it, you
Yeah.
know that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
people are genuine.
Yep.
And I can respect, like, you can respect, I hope you respect that. But I
Yes.
know I've listened to songs where I don't connect to the people's statements, but I know that they're being genuine, and I can actually genuinely respect that.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of guts to put something like that out into the public.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like that's one of the things that I constantly have to remind myself of is like, if they're a band, like hopefully they're like writing from their heart, you know, and they're essentially, to use an idiom or to coin a phrase or whatever, they're putting their heart on their sleeve,
Literally.
you know, and like that takes guts. And I mean, like John Foreman is doing it as much as the guys from Real Friends are doing it,
Oh, definitely.
you know, and
It's
like,
just in a very different, slightly different way, I guess.
it's a definitely a different way.
Yeah.
But like both of them are just as real, you know, just as
But John
impactful.
Foreman doesn't say real in his title.
true. It's just John
All
Foreman.
right. Nah, but we both gave our EPs over a 4 out of 5 rating.
Yeah,
At least a 4 or higher rating. So that's we had good albums this week, am I right?
yeah, we definitely did, man.
So we talked about the tunes thoroughly. Let's go back to the brews real quick before we sign off.
Okay,
So
my great-
I'm just about to finish my Fleek. my on Fleek, and are you pretty close to finishing your?
Yeah, I've got about 3 more sips left.
Yeah, so you got about 3. I've got about 1 more sip left.
Okay.
So I'm giving Jesse time to take at least 1 more sip to kind of lessen it. Nice.
Okay.
And so let's give 1 more description of our beers, and then let's
Okay.
sign off with our catchphrase.
I'll go first. Very nice. Fruity, refreshing, light-bodied, full IPA.
And talk about the brewery again.
Tailgate Brewing in Nashville, Tennessee.
And they are a very local brewery, and I'd love to talk to them out for a minute, if you give me a chance.
This is my first brew by them, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Let me talk about it for just a minute.
All right.
The first brew I had from them was at a local bar called the Flying Saucer. They've got a couple other locations throughout the country, but we go to our Nashville Flying Saucer.
Oh, yeah.
I had their peanut butter stout. It was very delicious. I thought it was great. And then I never heard anything else from Tailgate for a long time until they opened up a new secondary brew pub right near where I work.
Yeah.
And I went there last week to try it out and see what they had in store. And like I said before, they probably got 20, we'll just go with about 20 taps of their own beers. And so I did a flight and then I had a pint there. But I had like their peanut butter and jelly stout.
Ooh.
I had a Nashville hot chicken IPA.
Oh my god.
I had a horchata stout.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I'm trying to think of some of the other unique beers I've had. Oh, they've got a lot of out there beers, really unique, but they're all really, really good. Pardon me. They do, however, suffer from the Nashville curse because currently we have the law on legislation.
Oh gosh.
That in order to be sold I believe it's with a liquor license, you can't sell anything that's over 6.2%.
Yep.
And so Tailgate, I want to say, has to adhere to that law. They do not have any Imperial Stouts or any double IPAs, but that law is going to change next month.
Yes, it is.
So
yes, it is, sir.
we'll do an update later on to see if they change their things. But Tailgate is super great. They've got really good pizzas and sandwiches and wings. It's an awesome brew pub.
So, if you're listening in the Nashville area, check them out. I still have to.
Yes. They have a location in West Nashville, kind of not too far off of Charlotte Pike.
Oh, okay, Charlotte Pike, yeah.
And they've got one right downtown on Demumbrium in Music Row.
Demon Brewing.
If you don't know what it is, Demon Brewing. All right, so you talked about your beer. I'll go back to my beer.
Yep.
On Fleek.
Yeah!
This beer was so potent. Not
my
alcohol.
gosh.
Not alcohol wise. I mean, literally, it's 13%.
13%. That's pretty
I
potent.
mean, but
For a
taste
beer.
wise,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
does
yeah.
not taste like it's 13%.
No.
It tastes maybe like 8 or 9%.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Like I can tell it's slightly higher ABV, but it does not taste that boozy.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell that it's so malt heavy. It tastes like there's malts out the wazoo.
It's an emoji.
There's
On
an
the
emoji
can.
on the can, yes. It's a smiley face with one eye winking and a tongue sticking out.
Winky tonguey face.
Winky tongue face, yes. We'll call it that. But this beer is super great. Stillwater is a fantastic brewery from Connecticut. Is that correct?
I think that's what you said, yeah. Stillwater Artisan Ales.
Yes, they're really good.
If you get a chance, try them out.
I've probably only tasted about 3 or 4 of their beers, but every one I've had I think is really good, including this one. So let's clink our glasses and let's finish our beers with our sign-off word.
All right.
And before we do this, let's recommend some albums for next week.
Okay, yeah.
And this week we did EPs. Next week we're doing regular album lengths. So here's what I recommend for Jesse. The album is called Joyride by the band Transit. And I know that we're going into winter, and this I would classify as a summer jam. This is like a full-fledged summer album, but I think you can find a lot of joy in this album.
Okay, cool.
Joyride by Transit. So what would you recommend for me?
I'm going to recommend you an album by the Decemberists, which are a folk band from, I believe, Washington. The Seattle area, I think.
Like Seattle?
Maybe they're from Oregon.
Yeah, that area-ish of the country.
I Can't remember. But anyway, the album is called The Hazards of Love. And now this album, well, you'll figure it out. But this album is essentially like you're watching a play on an album. So anyway, those are the albums for next week. The Hazards of Love by the Decemberists.
And Transit's album called Joyride.
Perfect.
All right, so let us finish our beers and let us
Say
sign
the
off
magic word.
With the magic word.
We'll see you all next week.
Thank you again. This has been Stephen Johnston
And Jesse Titus
with Brews and Tunes.